Last year, Providence's crew took you through some interesting topics, had some exciting videos, and taught you how to do some pretty awesome things. To start off this year, we are looking back at some of our and your favorite videos from the past. Welcome back to another Tall Ship Tuesday. My name is Caroline, and to start this month, we wanted to look at the videos from this year that were some of our most popular as decided by you. To start, one of your favorite videos was all about a naval tradition, the mess night. Many of you had stories to share in the comments, and we loved hearing about them. So, in case you missed it, let's learn all about the mess night, a Viking tradition. The Navy is full of many traditions and honors. One of the oldest still practiced today is the formal dining event known as the mess night. Hello and welcome back to another Tall Ship Tuesday. My name is Caroline, and this week we are exploring a naval tradition that those on our ship, the Tall Ship Providence, would have practiced. The formal dinner gathering tradition in the military known as mess nights in the Navy and dining in or Continental dinner in the Army is a deeply rooted custom dating back to ancient Saxon and Viking times. Esteemed clan members who had displayed notable valor during raids were awarded the honor of sitting nearer to the leader, a practice that has been reshaped over the centuries, but still honors those in power. This tradition found its current form in the British Navy, adopted by colonists like those on Providence, who had served and recognized its historical significance. While Army and Marine dinners often took place in Washington, D.C., Navy gatherings were traditionally held on board ships. This was primarily due to the transitory nature of the crew, who frequently disbanded upon reaching port. On port calls, these formal occasions were reserved for special events. They were often leveraged as an opportunity to impress visiting foreign dignitaries or higher-ranking officials, maintaining a balance of decorum and display. The practice, though, was as much for building camaraderie on board a ship as it was for show. It is thought that the ceremony served a purpose in building a cohesive unit in the same way doing drills or inspections aboard the ship would. The night itself follows a strict schedule, complete with topics of conversation to avoid, like religion, politics, and other controversial topics. There is a definitive order of how things are done from entry to exit of the event. While there was some leeway to what would be included, it generally followed a similar format. First, there were cocktails in an adjoining room to the dining room. Then, after everyone had arrived, they would invite everyone in a particular order, honoring the officers and other high-ranking officials. The guest of honor and the mess president are the last to their spots at the head table, and all are seated at the same time. Dinner would commence, and often consist of these foods, but almost always included roast beef. There was more leeway in the menu, though it remains relatively consistent to this day. At the end of dinner, after the dessert course, all dishes were removed except for the port glass. Of course, a night of pomp and circumstance is not complete without the toasts. Decanters of port wine are placed in front of the ranking guest and at several other points around the table. Each officer fills his own glass with port wine. Now, this custom derives from the earliest days when it was usual for him who would drink to another to fill his own horn. Wine is traditional during this event, and so no other drinks are generally served during the toasts. One does not need to drink it, but it is customary to at least put it to their lips. This key part of the ceremony was actually threatened when the Navy enforced an alcohol ban in 1914. This, along with the advent of the war, disarmament, and the impact of the Great Depression on social activities, resulted in a considerable decline of this cherished tradition. However, The tradition witnessed a revival in 1954 when General Shepherd reintroduced the concept of dining in. It appeared in the Marine Officer's Guide, where he provided detailed instruction on the conduct of the evening, reinforcing its important role in fostering camaraderie and unity among the military personnel. After the final toast to the Navy, the mess president invites all those present to join them at the bar. All the guests remain in their places until the head table shuffles out, and the rest then follow. Despite its long history, the tradition and ceremony of the mess night has remained. Its enduring importance as a symbol of honor, valor, and fellowship in the military reaffirms its place as a revered and vital tradition. If you have ever experienced a mess night yourself, tell us about the experience down in the comments below. If you want to know more about mess nights, check out our adventure page. Link in the doobly-doo. What a fun one! Now we move on to a series that you all loved this year, starting with the very first one we posted, Parts of Providence, the Topmast. If you have ever sailed on a tall ship, you may have noticed they're a little different from your average sailing vessel. Here on Providence, we thought it would be fun to teach you about the parts of the tall ship, starting with her tallest part, the topmast. Hello, and welcome to another Tall Ship Tuesday. My name is Caroline, and this week we are learning about the topmast, or as most sailors call it, the topmast. Now, here on Providence, we just finished putting up our topmast back where it belongs. On a traditional sailing vessel, the masts were not single spars, but were actually constructed in separate sections. Our topmast is a semi-permanent structure that each season we take down and put back up. We use the large winch, which is called the windlass, and a long piece of line that we tie around the topmast to hoist it up. It takes several crew members to make sure everything runs smoothly. The mast holds much of the rigging for our sails. Some of it is standing rigging. That's rigging that is held fast and not hauled upon. The topmast also holds much of the running rigging, or rigging that we use to haul upon regularly. It is used to do things like set sails or square the braces. If we come down here to our main deck, you can see that includes many of our halyards attached here to the fife rail. The yard arm, or just the yard, is another important part of our ship that sits up on the topmast. This part of the ship is not permanently affixed to the topmast, but rather something that can move. And in traditional sailing vessels, this was actually something that was designed to be lowered and stored on deck when not in use. Here on Providence, we generally just leave them up, despite the weather, though we are able to raise and lower them a little bit. This is done by using the lifts down on the main deck. The yard itself holds our topsail, and if you're interested in learning about that sail, we can do that in a future Parts of Providence episode. Just leave a comment down below saying that you're interested. Providence is a sloop. This means that she's fore and aft rigged. That essentially means that she has sails that can catch the wind from various angles. And she also only has one mast. Other tall ships may have more than one, and some, when they have additional masts, don't always have the topmast rigged. The coastal schooner, for instance, sometimes would only rig their main topmast and not their forward one at all. It all depended on the function of the ship, what sails needed to be set, and where they would generally be sailing. Providence, having only one mast whose job was to take prizes during the Revolutionary War, needed to go fast, especially because she was so small. So having that topmast rigged meant she was able to set her topsail quickly and use the wind that was behind her to her advantage. This one seemed to captivate you all in just the first few minutes. Join Jessie, our costume historian, in learning all about the tricorn hat and other sailing essentials.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to another Tall Ship Tuesday. My name's Jessie. I'm one of the historical interpreters, deckhands, and fashion historians here on Tall Ship Providence. And today we are going to talk about the tricorn hat and its iterations after the fact. The tricorn hat would first be seen about around the 17th century, but it wouldn't gain popularity until about the 18th century. The original tricorn hats were made out of mostly beaver hair felt or sometimes wool felt, which both have water repellent and water resistant properties that I've mentioned in prior videos. The tricorn hat would have generally been kept relatively plain if you were on the lower class, but if you were more upper class, it could have been heavily decorated, anything from rosettes and buttons to trim, lace, and lacings on the sides. These all reflect upon both your rank on the ship, but also your financial class in society. The purpose of the tricorn hat was in order to redirect rain off of the face and foul weather off of the face onto the back and the shoulders. So these gutters here would have been worn generally facing so that the flat was on the face, but we do see oftentimes in a lot of art depictions of it being faced with the gutter facing out this way. This wouldn't have been very popular, as we do want this to push the water away onto the shoulders and onto the back. The tricorn unfortunately would lose popularity about around the mid to late 18th century in favor of the bicorn. The bicorn would look very similar to the tricorn, except rather than 3 gutters pointing out, it would only have 2, very similar to the shape of a taco. The benefit of the bicorn versus the tricorn, while it still had the same purposes of redirecting water, would be that you could fold it up and put it underneath your arm when you were out at shore. The bicorn would have been made out of similar materials as the tricorn hats, so beaver fur, wool fur, things like that, and would have, as I mentioned before, been used to redirect rain. But again, it would have had the benefit of being able to be folded up not only underneath the arm, but to be folded up completely to be packed away in sea bags. Unfortunately, the tricorn and the bicorn hat would lose popularity about around the 19th century in favor of the top hat, which had the benefits still of redirecting rain off the face with its wide brim around the crown of the head, but also could be used more as a status symbol for midshipmen and high-ranking officials. It would have been made out of more often beaver fur felt, as the prior ones did, but also rabbit fur felt and silk would have been popular choices.
Hello. Well, that was fun going back over some of your favorites from the past year. Let us know if there were any that we missed that you just loved down in the comments below. Thank you all for joining the Tall Ship Providence Foundation on this Tall Ship Tuesday. If you liked this video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel. We put out new educational videos each week about maritime history, seamanship, tall ships, and even the occasional sea shanty. So don't forget to share this with someone who might want to learn something new. Until next time, we hope to see you back again on another Tall Ship Tuesday. Bye!